Hi guys, my name is Reagan. Can I just see a show of hands how many of you use a straw when you go out to eat? Okay, so pretty much everybody. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about why you should not use plastic straws. So when I'm talking about plastic straws and plastic pollution, I'm focusing on single-use plastic. So these are items that are used just one time before they're disposed, and they're usually used for a very short amount of time. Single-use plastic items, like plastic straws, are very harmful to the environment, and this is my first supporting claim. If you use plastic straws regularly, you're actively contributing to the plastic waste pollution. We use 500 million straws a day on average, and these straws end up in our oceans and landfills. A study in 2015 showed that 9 million tons of plastic pollution ends up in the oceans annually. Plastic straws are extremely light, so they make up for an estimated 2,000 tons of the ocean's plastic waste. Keep in mind that because they are so light, 2,000 tons still amounts to billions of straws. According to scientist Chris Wilcox, when marine life ingests a straw, their chances of death increase by 50%. Our ocean life is important for our planet and ecosystem, and if we can cut down on plastic waste in any way, we are helping the planet as a whole. Straws do not just affect the marine life in the ocean, but also a large population of birds in this ecosystem. When plastic straws are disposed of, the plastic never fully biodegrades. This is important to remember when you're choosing whether or not to take a plastic straw with your drink, because you will most likely only use that straw for a very short amount of time in comparison to the lifetime that straw will have on Earth. My second supporting claim to why you should not use straws is because it's an easy first step to helping the planet. Sometimes people hesitate to partake in helping the environment because they don't know where to begin or feel as though they won't make a difference. Although plastic straws only amount to a smaller percent of the waste on Earth, eliminating them is a simple and effective first step that most people can participate in. Making a difference, no matter how big or small, is good for your well-being because you'll know that you're contributing to a greater cause. Many restaurants and companies such as Starbucks, Disneyland, Shake Shack, and McDonald's have begun making moves to help lessen the use of straws, which I think that's really great that so many big and influential companies are taking a stance on that. These establishments may use strawless lids or provide straws only upon request. Simple steps like these can make a large difference when you consider how many millions of straws are used daily and how many millions of customers travel through these establishments. With this helping the planet, it is also benefiting you, because you are living in an environment with less waste and less damage to the ecosystem, and that is something to be proud of. If you still feel that you really enjoy using a straw, that's okay. There are other alternatives that will help the planet and help you be more efficient. And efficient is being defined as having maximum productivity with minimal waste. Plastic straws can be substituted with paper, metal, glass, or silicone, which can be purchased by the user. These substitutions are becoming more readily available on sites like Amazon, so it's convenient for you to purchase them. Plastic straws are not commonly used in the home and are more often used in a restaurant or fast food setting. So I would argue that they're not always an essential utensil because most people, provided that they don't have any disabilities, can still drink without a straw, and straws are not necessary for preventing spills, which makes it possible to still enjoy your drink without one. And my final supporting claim is that straws can also benefit your health. So now that you're feeling better about helping the planet, studies have shown that using a straw can cause bloating from too much air intake. And additionally, if you're drinking a sugary beverage, using a straw can increase your risk of cavities because it projects the fluid to a concentrated area of your teeth. If you choose not to eliminate your straw use completely, you can at least cut back to help lower these concerns and additionally help the environment. I hope that the insight I'm sharing with you today helps you want to make a difference. Plastic pollution is a huge issue on our planet, and straws are only a small part of the bigger issue. But they add up and certainly make a difference. Passing up the choice to use a plastic straw will not make your dining experiences any less enjoyable, and you can feel good that you're making a small step towards a healthier Earth.
All right, Reagan, the proposition's identified, but it's a policy claim, so that's a little bit of a problem. I do think that you have issues of fact that you're using for the supporting points, so there's probably an easier way to kind of structure this as a claim of fact. There's no preview before you get to the body of the speech of what the supporting points are going to be, and that makes listening a little more complicated. Ultimately, you do label the supporting points in the body of the speech pretty clearly, so that helps quite a bit solve that problem. There is a big assumption here that needs to be explained more. Why is it that the plastic straws end up in the environment if they're not being disposed of properly for some reason? For some reason. That, I think, needs to be part of your argument. As it is, the number of plastic straws that are being used is not necessarily correlated with the amount of plastic that ends up in the environment. And you mentioned the one thing that seems like it's maybe connected to that. You have a statistic or a piece of information that says there's 2,000 tons of straws or 2,000 tons of the plastic waste is made up of straws. And the bigger question to me is, what if we have as many straws as you're talking about? How does it that the 2,000 tons gets into the environment and the rest doesn't? I think there's a step missing in your argument here that needs to be developed a little bit more. People are not, they're careless about the way they dispose of the straws, or people aren't doing it properly. It makes it sound like the restaurants are just tossing the straws in the gutters, and I don't know that that's what's happening. There's got to be some explanation as to how the straws are getting into the environments where you're suggesting there are going to be problems. The general plastic argument, I think most people agree that there's nobody wants waste products in any of the environments that they operate in, whether it's the ocean or whether it is their neighborhood. That there is a lot of plastic waste. There's not really a lot of dispute about that. How much of a problem it is, that's, I think, the thing that needs to be quantified a little bit more. You did have a piece of information about the birds and the fish, and I don't remember what the fish number was, but it's like it affects a million birds a year as a result of plastic in the environment. I'm not sure it was a million birds because of the straws in the environment. If it was, then you should be able to get more mileage out of that information. Some of the citations at the beginning part were pretty good. In the later part, there wasn't any citation. Like the whole third point is mostly asserted. Even the stuff on the actions by the groups that are talking about using these alternatives. I know that you found this information someplace. You should tell us where it came from. I'm kind of curious about the silicone straws and how that works. I think that would be something that maybe would address the issue that people worried about. If a silicone straw doesn't represent the same kinds of problems in the environment, but it functions exactly the same as a plastic straw, and it has the same relative cost, then that seems like it's the perfect answer to this particular issue. I don't know that that's the case, though. From the information that you've presented, it just sounds like that's the case, and so you need to have a little bit more there. The presentation, if I'm just listening to you, it's not too bad. There's a good variety in your voice for the most part. You're reading effectively, but as I'm watching you, you never look at the audience. I mean, the whole time that you're speaking, you're looking down at your notes, so there's not any engagement of us, which undermines the ethos and diminishes the chance of your influencing us. So that would be something that you want to work on in the future. All right, thank you.